Hey, how's it going, everybody? Finally got a video for you guys. I'm going to be showing a couple more Balisong knives that I've added to my collection, plus a couple of my vintage ones just to compare on quality. Anyways, I'm going to start out with the cheaper one that I picked up. I got this from the same pawn shop that I picked up the Bear Cutlery Bali from. Anyways, found this for sale on Amazon. The one they're showing is different. It's got more of a galaxy pattern on it. This one blade and handles are really cool looking. This Galaxy one's cool looking too. The only difference is mine could definitely have an edge put on it, and the one that I'm looking at on Amazon, it's got holes in the blade. The holes are more separated on the one on Amazon, where there's one really close to the blade tip to where it would make it hard to put an edge on it without making that tip really weak. Otherwise, this one I'd say is about 90% close to being sharpened. So, nice looking box, and I was going by Rhino. This one they're calling Rhingo, Rhingo. So that's the only thing on it to identify it. There's no words or anywhere on the box or the knife, just a picture of a rhinoceros head. But it is a nice heavy box. And it's got a nice piece of foam in it, kind of like the same kind of foam you'd have in a floor mat for your kitchen or whatever. So the knife fits in there perfect. Really pretty looking knife. And for a trainer knife, this is really nice. Looks like what they did is, I don't think that's painted on. Hopefully it's not to where it would start chipping off. I'm thinking it's all ionized. I'm going to say the same thing on the blade. It's got that rainbow effect all over. And as you can see here, they've tried to do the Benchmade thing on the T-latch, which this one you got to really give it a good squeeze. It's kind of like when you're squeezing it, it doesn't quite pop up, but when you start to let go, then it pops up. It's almost like it's yeah, it's just a little bit too wide. If it was more tapered down, it would probably pop up easier. Otherwise, it does stay up and out of the way. And you got to really give it a good squeeze to lock it open. Otherwise, nice heavy construction on this one. I like that blade design. It is just cool looking. But, say, this one, you can definitely put an edge on it. It's not all that dull. But the one that I'm looking at on Amazon, it's got the hole there. And then instead of a hole here, it's got the hole here, and then another hole really close to the tip, about right there. Like I say, man, just looking at it, I could tell if you dare try to put an edge on it, you could weaken that tip to where if you dropped it, it would snap off. Just looking at it, I think the way it is, if you dropped it and it hit like this on a hard surface, it would either bend really bad or snap off. Very poor placement of the holes, but all these that I've looked at, depending on the color or whatever, they all seem to be a little bit different. Some of them don't have the holes. And if you're in a place like Arizona where these are legal, you can find them sharpened. Man, just really cool. And the screws to hold everything together are Torx. In fact, that's what's missing. Either you didn't get one or it got lost, but the one on Amazon is showing a little Torx screwdriver that you get with it. As this does come with a sheath. Just your typical nylon sheath. Good enough. It was not bad for 20 bucks. Alright guys, now for a batshit crazy find, as I'm going to show you guys the tag here, as I shit you not. Next knife I'm going to show, I found at Goodwill of all places. I am in Arizona. I don't know where else you could find something like this at a Goodwill that I'm going to show. And as you can see, they had it as jewelry, and I rounded off, so 50 bucks. And because it was considered jewelry, it was up front with the jewelry, you know, where they have the registers and the regular old Goodwills. And some of them have it glassed in. We'll have jewelry and watches and whatnot. So that's where it was. For an authentic Philippines Batanga, Balisong. Belonged to somebody who had the initials AT. Or maybe they did ass training. I don't know, but they were definitely an ass to stamp their fucking name in the side of the handle. Which, fortunately, that's the only major flaw. Everything else about the knife is in really good shape. So, that doesn't bug me all that much. And on these, I've been in Arizona since '91. This is the third one I have found. Only difference is the other two that I'm going to show, to compare to this on quality, those two are definitely vintage. This one, I may be wrong. I don't know how long the person made these. Who knows? But all I can go by is that I'm still seeing ones online and on some YouTube videos of, in fact, yeah, I'll have to find that video. There's a cool video that a guy was going to make a longer one, like a little mini movie or whatever, and I don't think it ever happened, but there's a nice, decent sized video showing the making of Balisongs. And I think their company's name is Taal, Taal. Because I was seeing some on this website to where they had a little like clip on it, so you can clip it on your shirt or whatever, or pocket clip to where it had Taal carved into it. Otherwise, all the other ones were pretty much blank, but of the same quality. Which on quality, right off the bat, seems sturdy enough, but those pins are pretty damn small. So I don't know how this would do if I was flipping it like crazy. Because I don't plan on flipping this. I'm going to keep it as found, man. I'm a collector. I got plenty of them that I can flip that are my cheapies, but not going to do it with this one. Let's see, man. It's pretty thin. And then it does have some tool work in the latch. It just feels unfinished, which, as you can see, it's pretty shiny, as I've been working on it with some polishing wool just to shine it up. And then I'll go over it with some Ride's Copper Cream to get it all nice and beauteous looking. Oh. The ass trainer had some friends. There are other initials carved into it, but just lighter, which I am gradually polishing them out. If only this person had done the same damn thing instead of just stamping it in with an ice pick or whatever. Otherwise, blade here. Blade is in pretty damn good shape. Just a few little spots of rust, which, yeah, now that I got it under a light here, as I've been doing the same thing, just going over it with polishing wool, it's starting to lift it off. So there's the blade. Just unbelievable to find this at a freaking Goodwill, man. That just that's crazy. So, show you the difference here. It's pretty much the same size as my other large Bali that I'm going to show you guys next. This one I picked up in the mid-90s at a pawn shop in Bullhead City, Arizona. And I only paid $10 for this one. Guy had no clue what it was. He just thought it was just a cheap ass knife, which, okay, take my fucking money, dude. Keep drinking. This one is definitely old. In fact, I didn't have to do outright repairs. It was more just preservation to keep it from getting any worse. The bone inlays on it aren't starting to rot. They've been rotting for a long time, to where one of them on the scales was starting to get so thin to where I was going to have a sliver snap off. So I'll tell you guys what I did on that. So far it's holding up good. Anyways, right off the bat, larger pins, and everything's nice and level. And as you can see, that's all darkened up. The whole blade looks like that because it's outright carbon steel. Just everything about it. Much better construction. And then latch, that really pops compared to the other one. It's one of the most beautiful looking latches I've seen on one of these. Open it up here. Just everything's all nice and smooth. Much nicer looking blade. Kind of like the next one I'm going to show. All the guy told me is he'd had this for a long time, and he just finally decided to sell it in his pawn shop. It's more like a pawn shop junk store type place. So this one could go maybe back to the 50s. Who knows? So these have been around for a long damn time. Oh, on the handles. Yeah, show it better there. Bottom scale. See where it's all black in there? It's gotten really thin where right there where it kind of follows my finger, it's just a sliver of it to where it's almost down to the metal. Anyways, what I did was get some regular old super glue, the liquid stuff that dries up insanely fast, and just a little bit at a time. Just got a drip and just ran it down that area so it would soak into the bone, and just kept building it up and building it up until it started just getting a little bit of a shine, and that's kept everything intact. Otherwise, that side's not bad at all, and really that scale's not bad either. This one, I believe, does go back to around the 50s. I got this at one of my local swap meets from an old guy, and it was his carry-around knife for a long time. And it's in just as nice a condition and just as nice on the craftsmanship. Just everything's nice and level, rounded off. And hard to show here. I don't know what it's going to do. Yeah, I'd have to have it under sunlight. Instead of it just dry rotting, it's doing the other thing that's really cool. Starting to get a almost effect like a tooth. Whole lot on this side where it's getting that translucence in the bone. It's really pretty when I have this out in the sunlight. This side really catches the light nice. It's almost getting that ivory effect. Nice and rounded off. Really thick piece of metal they used on this for the blade. Where it's thick at that end and then it just tapers down. It's again much nicer quality on the blade. In fact, this time, say I may know where this came from. or at least wherever they get the knives from is where that possibly came from. Anyways, I'll give that link, and I'll give a few others too, as I've been hunting around. It took me a while to find ones that are very similar to this on the quality. So I found a few sites, so I'll just give you all the links. If anything, man, and to give you guys something to drool over. Let's see. Yeah, the site where I think this might have came from is Arizona Custom Knives. They have got some friggin' beautiful Balisongs. There's a lot of these, man. I would never want to flip them. They would stay in a case locked up, man. Nobody would be allowed to touch them. And they've got some that are definite, just works of art. Just beautiful. Not on just the blade, the handles, everything. Just beautiful friggin' knives. I've got another site to where it's more authentic ones going back to the 1800s. More stuff like that, and they do have some customs. This is mostly customs, and then they do have some regular old Filipino batangas mixed in, where price kind of jumps around on them. Like the start page here, they got one for 150, and then they got one for 130. They got one that definitely looks vintage. That's $395. It's definitely got a very old look to it, like it could go back to maybe the 20s. And they've got some old school Pacific cutlery stuff too. I say, man, it's definitely one of those sites to drool over. So I'll give you guys that link, and I forget the name of the other one. And then I'll give you guys the link for Amazon, where I spotted the Rhingo knife. So, for all you ones that hit up the thrift stores that collect knives, always check up front, especially if you live in Arizona or Nevada. I'm pretty sure they're legal in Nevada too. Same thing with switchblades. Our laws are pretty damn similar here, other than I can't legally go out in the streets as a prostitute, mainly because I haven't grown them out enough yet. But that's one of the only major differences. Our laws are just as crazy. So all I got to do is just jump the river not too far away, and I'm in Nevada. Because I'm, about 40 miles away from Laughlin, Nevada. In Vegas, I think I'm about maybe 120 miles at most. So, very close. Have a good one, everybody.